All rise. The court of the Arana nation is now in session. I am the adjudicator, the Honorable Michael B. Arana, and this is my conclusion, if you will, of the case of Judge Brett Kavanaugh versus Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. And court is in session. You may now be seated. So many people have been asking me to give my opinion and state a conclusion on this matter. And until now, I have been relatively silent because I would like to have the opportunity to hear what the accuser had to say, read her body language, and then see what Judge Brett Kavanaugh had to say, read his body language, hear all the evidence, and decipher everything. Now, this hearing is still ongoing, and they're taking recess right now, but I feel that after hearing all of what the accuser had to say, and pretty much most of what the judge had to say, I can now say that I've heard enough and I have reached a conclusion. And I've reached a conclusion on many different bases. Number one, it is a fact that this good doctor's friends who she has named have been crystal clear that what she has accused the good judge of back in the early 80s, which is sexual assault, was untrue. They said it was false. It did not happen. The party didn't even, Judge Kavanaugh was not even at any party. This is completely false. That is what 3 people, one of them being this person's good friend, said, that it is untrue. It did not happen. And this is coming from a so-called friend, that it didn't happen, that what she is saying is a load of nonsense. Now, the doctor says that it's because she's saying this because she's going through a medical condition. Now, I want to know what this medical condition is. Is it Alzheimer's? Is it sickle cell anemia? Is it pneumonia? Is it delusion? What is it that could make a good friend forget something so serious? I have a number of friends, and I don't care if they were dying of AIDS. I know for a fact that if I were to say something that happened to me, they would back me up. And I know that for a fact. And if they didn't back me up, it's because it didn't happen. And they would probably still back me up even if it didn't happen, because that's just how they are. So this has to be completely false for this so-called best friend to say that this did not happen 100%. It had to be completely pulled out of the air. So that's one thing. Number 2, this whole thing about trying to stall. I have seen the Democrats, I have seen the lawyers of the plaintiff, of Madam Plaintiff, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, try their very best to stall this thing, and stall this thing, and stall this thing. Even bringing out, in my opinion, a completely BS statement that she is afraid of flying because of what happened to her at the hands of Brett Kavanaugh. She said she was afraid of flying to Washington because she was afraid of flying. Even though she flies more than pretty much anybody. She's flown to Hawaii. She flies back and forth to Delaware. She's flown to the French Polynesia. This woman is a flying machine. Her air miles points are going through the roof. She loves to fly. That's what she does. And I'm saying to myself, okay, if you're so afraid of flying, I mean, you could take a ferry, you could take a boat, you could do all that sort of stuff. But she's flown all over the place. Hawaii, French Polynesia, Delaware, and the only time that she is hesitant to get on a plane, she doesn't hesitate to go to Hawaii by plane. She doesn't hesitate to go every year to Delaware. She doesn't hesitate to go to French Polynesia. But the one time she's hesitant is to go to Washington to testify. But she goes anyway when she feels that they wouldn't go to her. And she's saying, I didn't know you guys could come to me. The committee says, we would have gladly gone out to California for you. So I don't know if she's lying or if they're just trying to stall or whatever is going on. But this whole stalling, trying to bring out the FBI, all this stuff like that. I mean, the FBI, what is different between the FBI investigating and all those senators, both Democrat and Republican, having given the opportunity to question Judge Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford? There's no difference. There's no difference whatsoever. The only reason why these people want to bring the FBI into this is so that this whole process could stall even more. They do not care. They just want to keep stalling, and if the FBI comes in, they'll want more and more witnesses until this goes in through the midterms, and hopefully they pray, the Democrats pray that they win the Senate, and so that they could just reject Kavanaugh outright. And from there on out, it wouldn't matter what the FBI came out with. They could say that Judge Kavanaugh is actually Jesus Christ come down from heaven. And they would still vote against him because it's all about Donald Trump. And finally, from the beginning, these Democrats, many of them, have stated that they are opposed to the judge. They don't care what happens. They don't want to hear it. They're automatically opposed. They've called him evil. They've called him all sorts of stuff. They don't care. They've made it clear that no matter what, they are opposed to anybody that the President of the United States brings on to the Supreme Court. 110%. They don't care, and they have made it clear that their hatred and their desperatism to get Judge Kavanaugh away from the Supreme Court. And I feel that because of this amount of hatred, that I feel that something fishy is going on. I'm not here to attack the accuser. I think I don't know. I looked at her on the television. Something is wrong. I feel bad for her. God bless her. Amen. I have no ill will for her. But these Democrats up there, especially Dianne Feinstein, who I am condemning Dianne Feinstein to hell. I condemn her to hell. I condemn her. I condemn you, Dianne, for keeping a hold of this evidence that you had. And until the very end, when Judge Kavanaugh was going to be voted on, that's when you release it. You don't release it the second you get it. You don't release it because you want this process to drag on as fast as possible, and now you want an FBI investigation? I condemn Dianne Feinstein to the pit of hell. I condemn her. So, based on all of this evidence, I, the Honorable Michael B. Arana, find the Democrats guilty of trying to besmirch Brett Kavanaugh's reputation. I find Judge Brett Kavanaugh innocent, and I, the Arana Nation, am hoping and praying that he becomes a justice on the Supreme Court. And as for those Democrats, I'm talking to you, Cory Booker. I'm talking to you, Dianne Feinstein. I'm talking to you, Kamala Harris. I'm talking to you, Sheldon Whitehouse. I condemn you all to Hades. Court dismissed.